On everybody, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we are looking at the Draftkings and Fanduel Week 14 final look picks. We have a 10-game slate this week, so let's get started. As always, if you enjoyed the videos, please hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. Starting off with the quarterback position, you have Josh Allen. He's 83. It's a spot at home. Should be some weather in this game. Chances of some rain/snow mix, so could see a little bit of a lower scoring game, but the Bills are used to it. The Jets, they're used to it as well. Not too worried about it. He's obviously a good pay up. I like Hurts more against the Giants, going up against that defense, which definitely has struggled recently, just defending the pass. Hurts can run all over them, and Brian Dable, Hurts has some history with them. He was the offensive coordinator with Alabama, and he ended up getting benched in the championship game, so definitely think Hurts is going to want to show out against the Giants, especially after last year where he had his worst game of the season against them. Looking at the mid-range this week at quarterback, you have Geno Smith, fine option against the Panthers. You can go Dak right at 65. But I do like the Detroit Lions game a bit in terms of stacking it. It's at home. The Lions have played really good recently. They're putting up points. Even though they didn't use it much in his first game, Jameson Williams made his return last week, and Jared Goff just has great history and great connections with St. Brown right now. Early on in the season, they were great. Then he got hurt for a bit, and now it's back to being just a 1-2 punch between those two. And 56, they're actually favored against a 10-2 team, which definitely not a lot of people expected. Got to go with Goff if you're looking for like a safe quarterback this week with some upside. Another one I do like is Mike White. I mean, I played him last week. He wasn't super popular. People went to Lawrence instead, and Mike White gave you a ton of fantasy points, 22, with the rushing touchdown, 2 picks. Definitely have more opportunities. They settled for like 5 field goals, so they could have, forced Mike White to have another passing touchdown here and there or two, and maybe he would have finished with like 30 fantasy points. But either way, I think he's still a good option. He has a great arm, and they're going to be looking to throw a lot against the Bills. Running back's been interesting this week. You have McCaffrey at 85. Quarterback situation is a bit murky right now in San Francisco. Should be Purdy until Garoppolo comes back. Barkley's listed as questionable with the neck injury, so that's scary. Henry's not looked like himself recently, so that's also not 100% certain that he's going to go off. If you're going with a mid-range option, I think Pollard looks like a good, safe option with some upside. He's going to get you double-digit touches easily. There's still some risk of Elliott taking away some touchdowns, but the Cowboys are going to put up points in bunches. Expect both running backs to have a chance to eat this week, especially against Houston, who are dead last against the rush, and Pollard can show the ability to catch some passes. Wouldn't be surprised if this game does get out of hand, maybe they give Pollard more touches in the second half and just let Zeke just sit on the bench a bit and rest with all those injuries that he's dealt with over his career. That reason I like Pollard. Other running back I'm looking at is like in the 5K range. I like Pacheco against the Broncos. You can also go with like Latavius Murray. He's going to get a bunch of the touches there. I'm going back to Pacheco. Nobody really played him last week. Ended up going on him. Again, he was part of the video. And he got you 16 touches coming off of a week where he got 23 touches. He's just the main back. They're not. Edwards-Helaire is on IR. McKinnon's going to mix in a little bit, but Pacheco recently drafted him. They want to give him some opportunities, and he's made the most of it. He's not really making mistakes. He's doing what they ask of him, and we'll continue to get a decent matchup this week against the Broncos defense. One thing that they have led up this year is some rushing yards. They've been pretty good in all other categories. Wide receivers. This week, you have a bunch at the top end that you can look to. Jefferson obviously sticks out above the other two. Diggs will have a tougher matchup this week with maybe some weather and also with Sauce Gardner being on him. A.J. Brown, last week was the narrative street if you played him, which hopefully you did. It's also part of the video. Played him last week, got 35 fantasy points. Not going to go back to him this week, but don't mind it if you wanted to. I'd rather go to St. Brown, pair him with Jared Goff. He's going to be peppered with targets, another double-digit target game. You'd expect out of him possibility for over 30 fantasy points again, being utilized heavily in red zone situations as well. First wide receiver, another one that I'm looking at is going to Garrett Wilson, another wide receiver that hopefully played last week. He was popular, but for good reason. He was only 53. Price tag didn't go up that much. He's only 59. And finally has a competent quarterback back there with Mike White looking at least throw the ball downfield, give these receivers opportunities to make some big plays. And Garrett Wilson definitely has the ability to do that. They didn't have any passing touchdowns last week, but Wilson was targeted in the end zone multiple times, so could have had a monster-like week of over 40 fantasy points. But he definitely will give you touchdown opportunities and touchdown upside. And then the final wide receiver I'm looking at is DJ Moore with Sam Darnold as the quarterback for the Panthers. Had some history with Moore. He's had some good games over the past. And, they don't really have any other receiver that's going to really make too much of a factor. So DJ Moore, now that he has at least a quarterback that will throw the ball, and Darnold back there, matched up against Seattle, is favorable for them. $5,500 price tag is also favorable for a guy that gives you upside of over 20 fantasy points, and wouldn't be surprised if it gets you like 8+ targets this week. So over at tight end, top end, obviously Kelsey is there. He's expensive. He's been fine this year. Some games, they probably wanted some more, and some of these games where he just give you teens. But tight end's been kind of weird this year, where you're not getting a ton of production out of most of the spots, or most of the guys every week. So always a good pay up, but I'm not looking to get to him this week. I'd rather go to maybe like Hawkinson against his former team there. Dulcich with the receivers banged up for Denver looks pretty good. He's going to get targeted. Gives you some upside there, maybe to break a long one or get into the end zone. So you also have Evan Ingram, got his second touchdown of the year last week. He's going to get some targets, not the worst matchup against the Titans. And then defense-wise, basically looking at sub 3,000, it's the Bucs and the Steelers defenses that stick out the most against backup quarterbacks there. Not looking to really pay up, but it would be for the Eagles defense. Cowboys also at 38 against Houston. Those two look really good. And pretty much it. Unless you want to go with the Chiefs defense, which I'd rather get to the Cowboys or Eagles. But that's it for the DraftKings side. Let's go over to FanDuel. Alright, so on FanDuel, pretty much the same exact core that I'm going with, except for Murray instead of Pacheco, and that's just with the price gap, like $1,100 on FanDuel compared to just $500 on DraftKings. So I like Murray a little bit more just with the pricing, just very favorable in the 6K range, where he's probably going to get you 15+ touches or upside there. Leonard Fournette is also on the questionable tag. If he's out, then you want to load up on Rachaad White on both sides. So keep an eye on it right now. Running back is pretty tough, so Pollard and Murray are the two that stick out the best. I'm looking at price-wise and matchup-wise for Pollard at least. Receivers, same three I'm looking at. I think all three can give you upside for 20+ fantasy points easily. Wilson and St. Brown probably get double-digit targets. Not sure about Moore, but hopefully he can get into the end zone and make up for it. Other ones that you can look to are like Godwin's getting peppered with so many targets. He's been out-targeting Mike Evans like crazy over the past 4 or 5 weeks. Also have some values with like Gabe Davis against the Jets at $6,200. Wanted to keep going down. We really don't have anybody in the 5K range that sticks out too much. Really don't go that cheap. Looking a little bit more expensive. Ayuk as just like a dart throw tournament option isn't the worst. Just with that range, there's not too many other guys that look that appealing. And then if you get into the 7K range, you have Deebo Samuel, Devontae Smith, like Smith more just because he has a better quarterback. Purdy looked good last week, but we'll see. Now you got a defense that actually knows what to look for when they're watching the tape with him. So it's always a little bit tougher the second time around. Tight end wise on FanDuel, Kelsey's all the way up to 8K. It'll be tough to get there. I like the 5K range with Dulcich, Evan Ingram, guys that can get into the end zone, give you double-digit fantasy points. So I'm looking for out of my tight end spots. And then defense-wise, same two defenses are pretty cheap on FanDuel as well. Steelers and Bucs, both below 4,000. They're the ones I'm looking at the most. And then look at the Cowboys and Eagles if you're looking to pay up a bit. Cowboys are all the way up to 52. So I like them more on DraftKings if I was going to pay up. FanDuel, they're way priced up, so I'd rather just go down. Usually I pay down for defenses anyways. But that's what I got, Week 14. Let me know what you guys think. Have any questions, put them in the comments, and best of luck. Catch you all next time.